So welcome all. Great to have you all today. Today we're going to be sharing about NFTs. Now, if you have a question, drop it on the chat room. Um, if you have your mic on, kindly also mute it. Mute it. So basically, we also live on YouTube, like I mentioned. So you can also have this recording later. It's good to know that blockchain started so cryptography started so long time ago. I think I saw way back early 90s and stuff. There are people who are doing cryptography, and I'll be sharing a few tips on these. But the first real use case of blockchain was cryptocurrency. But like I always say, blockchain is like internet. Internet started with information, email. That was the first use case. So with time, you're gonna have a whole lot of other use cases and projects that will evolve on blockchain technology. So it started with cryptocurrency, things like bitcoins and altcoins, and of course, scammers have seen it also as a way of making money, and we now have what we call shitcoins. Number two, we went to decentralized finance. I think all of you have heard of DeFi, decentralized finance. This is another area that blockchain, and especially Ethereum blockchain. Ethereum is one of the altcoins that a lot of people saw a very big opportunity in Ethereum blockchain, which now we have now what we call decentralized finance. And now in 2017, the gentleman, in fact, I was just watching one of the forums with him, and he's the guy who came up with NFTs, non-fungible tokens, non-fungible tokens. And this is what I want us to share with you, because I remember even when DeFi came, a lot of people are like, oh, a lot of people are making money in DeFi and stuff. And I was saying DeFi projects are it's high risk, high return. So if you're not willing to lose all your money or also make a whole lot of money in DeFi, it's a no-go zone. But again, what will help you out is just one thing: information. And that's why each and every Saturday morning we share with you what is happening. So allow me to share my screen. Allow me to share my screen so that we can go ahead and share more on an NFT. So again, I mentioned, I've said, it started all with cryptocurrency. We went to number two, we went to decentralized finance, and now we have non-fungible tokens. So let me just share my screen so that we can get started. I hope it's visible enough. It's visible enough. I won't take a whole lot of time. Just grab as much as you can. Also, if you really want this sharing later, this document, of course, we can share with you. But also, if you have a question, just drop it on the chat room. I do want to welcome all of you. I'm sure even Louis has shared also on the chat room our Telegram channel, where we do daily market analysis, where you can also learn a lot. So our topic today is how non-fungible tokens work and where they get value. A brief about NFTs, because a lot of people will ask, what is an NFT and where do they get value? And just to start off, I want to share about this particular NFT because I think this is something that a lot of people have talked about, even in the crypto space. That there's one digital-only artwork has sold at Christie's auction house for an eye-watering $69 million, which is equivalent to 50 million euros. And by the bidder will not receive a sculpture, painting, or even a print. So this is where you're selling art, but you're not receiving physical art. I just want to have an idea of what NFTs are, and I'll be explaining more on these. So it's not like when you walk into an art store and you buy a sculpture or you buy a painting or even a print and you go home with it. These now some kind of other new technology that has come and people are making quite good money out of it. So takeaways from this session today will be non-fungible tokens prove ownership of a digital item, image, sound file, or text in the same way people own crypto coins. But one thing we also need to note is that unlike crypto coins, which are identical and more the same, NFTs are unique, and I'll be discussing these in brief. And of course, the other thing to take home is that an NFT is worth what someone is willing to pay for it, which can be a lot if the NFT is made by a famous artist and the buyer is a wealthy collector. And this is the reason as to why you saw here one of the NFTs was sold for $69 million, Christie's auction. So if you're a famous artist, maybe for example today, the Mona Lisa um, painting, if somebody has the rights to that famous piece of art today, and they tokenize it and put it in an NFT, I wonder how much it will be worth. I wonder how much it will be worth. So basically, what is an NFT? NFT stands for non-fungible tokens. But for us to understand what non-fungible tokens are, of course, it's good to know that in economics, a fungible asset is something with units that can be readily interchanged like money. So units that are readily can really be interchanged like money. So with money, you can swap a 10 euro note for a 5 euro note, and it will have the same value. So once you swap, it won't lose the value it had. Okay. However, if something is non-fungible, this is impossible. It means it has unique properties, so it cannot be interchanged with something else. So this is the unique characteristic or property of non-fungible assets. Like if you are using fungible assets, you can easily exchange it with an equivalent of another unit like money. So, for example, it could be a house or a painting, such as the Mona Lisa, which is one of a kind. You can take a photo of the painting or buy a print, but there will be only ever be the one original painting. So you can hang a photo of an original or maybe a print of the original, but you will only have one original. So of course, NFTs is good to note. They are one of a kind assets in the digital world that can be bought and sold like any other piece of property. It's good to know that. But they have no tangible form of their own. Now, if you're a newbie today, it's good also to know that when it comes to cryptocurrency, we deal with virtual money. You don't have the physical coins or notes with you. What you're holding, if you have like Bitcoin, one Bitcoin today is around, I think, $51,000 today. I think it has corrected up from 48, 49 yesterday. So if you have one full Bitcoin, it's not something that you can physically touch. It's just like when you have money in your Visa card. You know your money is in your bank account, but you can go somewhere and swipe your Visa card without really having to touch the physical cash. Or maybe you're using mobile money transfer. So it's the same thing. NFTs don't have a physical form. They don't have a physical form. So the digital tokens can be bought as certificates of ownership for virtual or physical assets. And as you're discussing these, it's good to note that also the space has been growing so much. In fact, I'm just discussing with Louis because it's something we've been invited to of blockchain meets real estate. And I think we'll be having a webinar. If you're interested in the webinar, you can just drop a note on the chat room. We'll have blockchain meets real estate. It's a webinar that will be going down on Monday. Why? Because everything at some point will be tokenized. And of course, like I always tell people, there's always that beautiful point of the first mover's advantage. If you're gonna have the right information at the right time, and you take good action, proper action, you can totally make a whole lot of good money. I was just there's a friend of mine who does drawings, and just I think 2 weeks ago I brought to his point about NFTs. And I was telling him, you're very good in drawing. Why don't you just take a course on NFTs and you monetize it? It's something that people have not even yet started to understand. Why don't you take your time off, break and start learn about it? You're an artist. I'm not an artist. Me, I won't. Me, I love money. I did finance. So for me, cryptocurrency for now works for me. It is just that's where my heart is. But of course, there are people who will also make a whole lot of money. Like now, guys who are in real estate. What is coming is for you. How do you get a blockchain shares tokenized and attached to a real physical asset somewhere out there, and you hold the real value of what you own? These are some of the things we're going to share in the next webinar. Of course, we'll share. If you're interested, we can drop a chat over there. It was just a by the way. So how do NFTs work? How do NFTs work? Okay, it's good to know that traditional works of art such as painting are valuable because they are one of a kind. But digital files can be easily and endlessly duplicated or be duplicated. With NFTs, the artwork can be tokenized, and this is now what we'll be also talking about blockchain meets real estate. Tokenization of real estate. To create a digital certificate of ownership that can be bought and sold. As with cryptocurrency, a record of who owns what is stored on a shared ledger, known as blockchain. The record cannot be forged, it's good to note, because the ledger is maintained by 1,000 of computers around the world. I think if you're a newbie, you always ask yourself, why is blockchain so safe? How come nobody can edit, or nobody can really like do what tamper with any record that is on blockchain? It's because copies of what you've already sent to somebody, they are distributed in different nodes, different networks in the whole world. And for you to change, you have to at least hack over 51% of all the entire network for you to make a certain change. So it cannot be forged. So NFTs, that's one of the most beautiful thing about them to note. So NFTs can also contain a smart contract that may give artists, for example, a cut of any future sale of the token. I think last time I talked about this. Let's say, for example, today we have a friend of ours, maybe Val has a piece of NFT, and she has sold that piece of NFT to me. There's a smart contract that will be attached because she was the originator. If I sell that smart contract to maybe Louise, there's something that will come back to the original owner of the NFT, which is Val. That's just amazing because it's giving you also what we call passive revenue that is coming to you as you continue with your work. So what's stopping people copying digital art? What is stopping people from copying digital art? Okay, we say it's nothing. Let me just unmute more people. Okay. Millions of people have seen Beatles art that sold for $69 million, and the image has been copied and shared countless times. In many cases, it's good to note, in many cases, the artist even retains the copyright ownership of their work, so they can continue to produce and sell copies. That's another beautiful thing about NFTs. But the buyer of the NFT owns token that proves they own the original work. So it's also good if you're buying an NFT, it's good to know whether are you buying a secondary or are you buying an original. It's also good to know that. So always, if you want more value in what you're dealing, always go for the original. Always go for the original. Don't go for the copy. Copy of what is being there. So some people compare it with buying an autographed print. People are paying millions of dollars for tokens. Yes, and it's wild as it sounds. So you can see the biggest art that was sold in NFT was $69 million. So how are NFTs worth? How much are NFTs worth? So in theory, anybody can tokenize their work to sell as NFT, but interest has been fueled by recent headlines of multi-million dollar sales. And I think I can just share a little bit of some of the things that are being sold for millions of dollars. The first one is on 19th February, an animated GIF of Nyan Cat, a 2011 meme of a flying Pop-Tart cat, sold for more than $500,000. That was in 19th February this year. A few weeks later, a musician, Grimes, sold some of her digital art for more than $6 million. That was a few weeks later. It is not just art that is tokenized and sold. It's also good to note dates. It's not just art that you can tokenize and sell it. Twitter's founder, Jack Dorsey, has promoted an NFT of the first ever tweet, with bids hitting to $2.5 million. Just look at that. I think I saw this on Twitter and I was like, this is brilliant, man. The first ever tweet that was tweeted by Jack Dorsey. It was promoted as an NFT. And of course, when it comes to NFT, it is a market where people do bids. And that bid, the first tweet, it went to a high of $2.5 million for just a tweet. So it's not only art that you can tokenize. It's good to note that. It's not art that are just come to NFTs. No, even even a tweet. I think I saw something also. I think Donald Trump, former US President Donald Trump, some of his tweets, have, some people also have made NFTs on them, and bids have started. So of course, we'll be sharing with you where you can also go and take some of these NFTs and stuff. So Christie's sale of an NFT by digital artist Beeple for $69 million, close to 50 million euros, set a record for the digital art. I think this is the highest we've seen in the NFT record. But as with cryptocurrencies, there are concerns about environmental impact of maintaining the blockchain. Of course, because I think I was reading somewhere one NFT blockchain, I think it's consuming power that can power two houses. So there's that, of course, environmental impact that a lot of people have concern with. So of course, another question people will ask, is this just a bubble? I think you remember when cryptocurrencies started, people were asking, is it a bubble? When DeFi came, is it a bubble? So again, now we have NFTs and fungible tokens. Of course, people are asking, are they a bubble? And of course, a day before his recording auction, people whose real name is Mike Wilferman told BBC, I actually do think there will be a bubble, to be quite honest. This is the gentleman who sold the $69 million worth of art. And I think we could be in that bubble right now. Many are even more skeptical. Of course, a lot of people are skeptical. And when something new comes, of course, people who don't understand it or people who are trying to understand it, they will never get to see. Like, how can you just sell a tweet for $2.5 million? Does it make sense? If you think from your your awareness and paradigms, it doesn't make sense. But somebody, somewhere, it makes sense. So of course, we will see a whole lot of those. I usually say bubbles are not really bubbles. It's just a correction. It's just a correction before things stabilize to have real meaning or real value. That's what I define bubble as it to be. Unless something is a scam. You know, scams are the ones that do pump and dump and disappear. But if something has a real value attached to it, or backed by real fundamentals, of course, a bubble will just be a mere correction. So David Gerard, author of Attack of the 50-Foot Blockchain, says he saw NFTs as buying official collectibles. This is another opinion from another person, similar to trading cards. So for him, he's saying it's like if you're buying an NFT, it's like you're buying an official collectibles like trading cards. Of course, there are some artists absolutely making bank on this stuff. It's just that you probably won't. He won't. The people actually selling NFTs are crypto givers, grifters, he said. And of course, this is now where I tell people, don't just join any platform or any industry if you don't, if you're not really aware. I think this past week I have had guys over almost I think 50 people calling me, asking me can I buy Doge and Dogecoin. And why I'm doing this is because a lot of us follow pumps. People will always call you when the markets are green. And of course, when the markets are green, that's not the time to enter the markets, man. It's when the markets are red. So I was telling people this is not a financial advice. I don't tell people what to buy. Do your own research and risk money you can afford to lose. Because at the end of it all, if you are following crypto guys on Twitter and of course people promoting certain coins on any social media, I always tell people you get wrecked. You get wrecked. What will always help you out is getting the right information, and information takes time. I think yesterday I shared a quote which says, "Knowledge is not free. You need to pay attention." And I think a lot of us, we want to make money without paying attention to what is happening around us. You have to create time and think always long term. This is another thing I tell people. Crypto space is not a get rich quick scheme. Whatever magic money you usually say over there, it doesn't happen, man. It takes a whole lot of year for you to make $1 million in the crypto space. So moving on swiftly, the same guys, of course, moving on swiftly, the same guys who's always been at it, trying to come up with new form of wordless magic bean that can sell for money. And it's good to note this. Anything original has a fake. Anything original has a fake. And this is one of the challenges we have when something is new. We'll have guys who've been there for long who will take advantage of lack of information for the newbies. It's very hard that you find an old person in real estate losing money. It's very hard to find somebody who is old in gold trading losing money. But try if you're new, you'll get swindled. Why? Because some of the guys who've been there as oldies will take advantage of lack of information, and they'll always get away with your money. Remember when Bitcoin started? I think the reason is why, in fact, we started Decrypt here for information purposes and education is because every person I would ask 2018, do you know Bitcoin? They told me it was a scam. And we saw the gap of people calling Bitcoin a scam. Well, a lot of people are understanding what Bitcoin is and they're making money out of it. So of course, take care if you're getting into something, take your time to learn before you remove the L and you start earning. So of course, it's good to note also former Christian's auctioneer Charles also said concept of buying NFTs made no sense. These are some of the auctioneers they're talking about NFTs. It doesn't make any sense. It's just the same thing. It's a new thing. A lot of people don't understand it, and when you don't have any understanding of anything, you'll never talk anything positive about it. Of course, you will criticize it. You will criticize it. I'm sure right now, some of you guys, if you try to tell your bank you want to buy Bitcoin, you will know, or you'll see what will happen. You know, not that Bitcoin is bad, but it doesn't make sense to them. They don't understand it, so they'll tend to criticize it. And information is what always will help you get to understand something. So the idea of buying something which isn't there is just strange. This is what he says. And he told BBC. Sorry. And on that note, I'll just ask one thing. I'm sure he uses electricity, but have you ever seen electricity, like touch electricity or even seen it? Because it's just current. You cannot see it. It's something that is there. And I think also when you're sending money using the old traditional way, you usually don't even see the money or receive the money. You get codes. When it started, it didn't make sense. But today it makes sense because people are aware of it. So I usually say a lot of people criticizing what is happening on the blockchain space is because they have not invested time to really get to understand what is happening and really acknowledge that the world is doing what we call a digitization shift. And once it happens, if you just sit back and say, oh, mobile phones are bad, they're causing cancer, I'm sure a lot of people when mobile phones came, that's what they were saying. And you know, today, can you live without a mobile phone? It's made the world become a global village. So anything new will always have people criticizing it, but also I like the critics because now it helps people who are interested to dig deeper for the right information so that they can go way ahead. So I think people who invest in it are slight mugs, but I hope they don't lose their money. That's a very good start because I remember also when internet started, people who were really into internet, they were called pornographers, nerds, and all kind of sorts of names. Today, they can really live without internet, so we can't. So So moving on swiftly, as I'm almost coming to the end of NFTs, where is the underlying value of an NFT come from? So it's good to know that the issue is perceptions of what the buyer is paying for are not easily framed in legal terms. NFT marketplaces do not always accurately describe the value proposition of the goods they are selling. The truth is that the value of an NFT is speculative. That's why most of the time you find that they are only sold using bids. Its value is determined by what someone else is willing to pay for it and nothing else. So you put your NFT, and people will start now doing bids, and the highest bidder, of course, will go home with it. So turning something as ephemeral as a tweet into an atom can be sold requires two things. Number one, what does it require for you to have an NFT? Make it unique, that's number one. And number two, proving ownership. Those are the only things you need for you to trade in NFT. Number one, make it unique. And number two, proof of ownership. I think in Kenya, the marathon champion, Eliud Kipchoge, I think a few weeks ago, he sold one of his EFTs for 40, I think around $40,000, around $40,000. Why? Because number one, it's something unique. I think it's a 159 record for marathon that he broke. And then, of course, number one, it's unique. Nobody has ever broken that record. He broke it, running under 2 hours. And then he has the proof of ownership. He is the owner. He's the one who broke the record. So nobody can come and claim, no, 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 no. Eliud never won the marathon. I'm the one who did it. So those two things make it unique. It's something that is not out there. And the other thing, can you prove that you are the real owner? Can you prove you are the real owner? So moving on swiftly, the process is the same for cryptocurrencies, and I think it's the same thing with cryptocurrencies. We turn strings of bits into virtual coins that have real world value. It boils down to cryptography. And it's good also, I just put this here so that you can also understand. A lot of people say Bitcoin and blockchain and anything that is underlying on blockchain does not have real value. And the reason is why I brought up these keys and blockchains for you to get to really understand what is the underlying technology, or what happens behind now this blockchain technology that we always hear about. So keys and blocks. So cryptography, this is a science that, of course, is used a lot, and it's a technique of is a technique used to protect privacy of a message by transforming it into a form that can be understood only by the intended recipients. You've always had this thing of on blockchain being this pseudonymity, as in you cannot know who you're sending to. They won't know the recipient, but you can transact. So privacy is done through cryptography. Everyone else will see it as only an intelligible sequence of random characters. This message manipulation is enabled by a pair of keys. It's good to note that. And of course, I brought this. If you're a newbie, let this not confuse you. Kindly continue onboarding our Bitcoin 101. Of course, we'll be explaining deeper on things like public key, private keys, and stuff. For today, I just want to just pass by just to help you understand where NFTs are gotten from. So the manipulation is enabled by keys, that is public and private keys. You share your public key with your friend who uses it to transform his message to you into an unintelligible sequence of random characters. You then use your private key to put it back into its original form. So I don't want to go deeper into cryptography. Maybe this can be a lesson for another day, where now you'll understand how blockchain technology really works. So it's good to know that cryptography is a mathematical science based on algorithms, just for your notes. So the special mathematical properties of these two crypto keys are widely used to provide secrecy and integrity. So there's number one, secrecy, which comes with privacy and integrity. None of you can cheat. Now, so the two crypto keys play a role in digital signatures. So that's what you use when you're using blockchain, and are commonly used on blockchain to enable both authentication and anonymity for transaction. So it's so awesome, and it's good to know this. Why we use cryptography, the mathematical properties of these two crypto keys are widely used to provide secrecy and integrity. That's number one. And the two crypto keys play a role of digital signatures and are commonly used in blockchain to enable authentication and anonymity for transaction. It's good to know that. So blockchain is a crucial technology for NFTs. It uses cryptography to chain blocks into glowing lists of records. Each block is locked by a cryptographic hash or a string of characters that uniquely identifies a set of data to the previous block. I hope I'm not confusing any one of you. Like I said, I just shared these as a by the way, just to help you understand how blockchain works. The transaction records of any chain of blocks are stored in data structure called Merkle tree. I won't go deeper on this. This allows a faster retrieval of past records. To be a party in this blockchain-based transaction, each user needs to create a pair of keys, like I said, a public key and a private key. This is designed to make it very difficult to alter transaction data stored on blockchain. And these are some of the things you're going to use, other use cases that you see on blockchain, being used on blockchain technology, data storage, elections, all this stuff. With time, I think blockchain will just be like internet, a lot of things happening on it simultaneously at the same time. So although blockchain was initially devised to support fungible assets like Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, this was the first use case. Just like internet, the first use case was email. It has evolved to enable users to create special kind of crypto assets. One that is non-fungible, meaning probably unique. And this is what I was telling you. We started with cryptocurrencies. We went to DeFi, decentralized finance. Now we have NFTs, and the next thing you will see, and this will welcome you for a forum, is tokenization of real estate. And it's happening, already it's happening. So you see blockchain will be used for so many other use cases, and it's amazing. So it's good also to note that Ethereum, one of the altcoins, is the second biggest altcoin in the whole world. Sorry. So just one second. Ethereum blockchain is the basis for most of the current offered EFTs because it supports ERC-721 token standard. I don't want to go into details to that, but it's good to know that even DeFi, most of the DeFi projects are all under Ethereum blockchain. It's the second biggest altcoin after Bitcoin. And of course, it will enable a whole lot of stuff to be done. I think also a lot of camps are also developed using Ethereum blockchain because the beauty about blockchain is that it's open. It uses what we call open source code. Any person can come and develop something over there, and it's just like internet. If you have an idea, Facebook was an idea on the internet, WhatsApp was an idea, all these things, it's the same thing. So also, you can develop anything you want on Ethereum blockchain. I think for Bitcoin blockchain, people say it's more, it's slower, there are so many things a lot of people say about Bitcoin blockchain, that's why it's not really user-friendly, not than more than Ethereum. So Ethereum, a lot of stuff enabled there. So enabling NFT creators to capture information of reference to the digital artifacts and store it as tokens on blockchain. And I think the next thing we will see, like I said, is real estate. So when you pay for an NFT, what you get is the right transfer to the token to your digital wallet. The tokens proves that your copy of a digital file is the original. It's good to know that. So what you're getting is a proof that you have a copy of the original file, like owning an original painting. Okay, it will happen also. Where like you can tokenize real estate. Where like I'm owning a property in the US, but I've stored the crypto assets in my wallet as shares. It's gonna happen, and it's happening. So just as a masterpiece, paintings can be copied and distributed as inexpensive posters, anyone can have a digital copy of your NFT. It's good to know that. So your private crypto key is a proof of ownership. Remember this. proof of ownership is your private crypto key of the original. The content creators public crypto key serves as a certificate of authenticity for the particular digital artifact. So this pair of the creator's public key and the owner's private key is primarily what determines the value of any NFT token. So as I finish, this is a very short history of NFT. Like I shared, I was watching this clip, I think it was a webinar, a discussion where the founder of NFT was being asked, how did you develop this? And I think he said he came to the crypto space from that webinar. I think he came to the crypto space around 2013. And of course, most of these old people in the crypto space, they are looking at what is missing and what can we add and how can we go ahead. It's good to note that NFTs came prominence in 2017 with a game called CryptoKitties, which enables players to buy and breed limited edition of virtual cards. It started as a game for people who love virtual games. From there, game developers adopted NFTs in a big way to allow gamers to win in-game items such as digital shield, swords, or similar prizes. This is how NFTs started, and other game collectibles. Tokenization of game assets is a real game changer since it enables transferring tokens between different games or to another player via NFT specialized blockchain marketplaces. And I think as we're talking about games, I saw something really interesting this week when I was doing some just research on what is happening in the whole world. And I don't know whether it's Singapore or South Korea, where a gaming company did a QR code using drones on the air on the air at night, and any person who copied that QR code, you are able to download some special games. It was a gaming company, and I was like, "Whoa, digitalization shift is happening, and the things that are happening out there is just amazing." So they used what are they called? These they did a QR code in the air, and if you just copied that, you read that QR code using a QR code reader. Maybe you can look for that. News. I found it so interesting because it was in China. It was Louis confirmed in China. Maybe you can share that link on the chat room, and you can see this is where we are going. Like a company, you can imagine now how many people, maybe 10 years to come, who will be like, we have an advert. You just pay for airspace, your levies and stuff, and then you just advertise something at night using all these things. And it's amazing. I saw that, I was like, and when I'm reading these, when I'm sharing with you these, how NFTs started, I think that's what crossed my mind. Like the world is happening and things are happening so fast. And it's good time, of course. Not none of us should be left behind. So besides gaming, NFTs are frequently used to sell a wide range of virtual collectibles, including NBA virtual trading cards, music, digital images, video clips, and even virtual real estate. I've talked about that. Virtual real estate. Example is decentralized, a virtual world. So now we'll be discussing this more on Monday. If you are interested in getting to know blockchain meets real estate, of course, it's good to get in touch with us. We'll share with you the link. Okay, Fungible.com is a website that tracks NFT projects and marketplaces. Of course, you can go to nonfungible.com. You see places like OpenSea.io and stuff where you can just open an account and place your NFT over there and you start advertising it. Puts the value of total market NFT at $250 million. So this started just the other day, and you can see already it's a $250 million. And then the usable fraction of the total crypto market. I think crypto markets currently are studying at 2.something trillion dollars, but still highly attractive for content creators. So if you're a content creator, if you have an idea of how you can also benefit from NFTs, it's a high time you just go ahead and read more. Remember, learn first before you earn. The contract behind the token base is on ERC 721 standard for creating NFTs. Can be set to let the content creators continue earning a percentage from all subsequent sales. And this is what I love about NFTs, that if I have an original NFT, when the NFT keeps on changing or being sold in the market, there's something that is coming, a percentage that is coming back to me as the original content creator. It's amazing, man. It's just amazing. The NFT market is likely to grow further because any piece of digital information can be easily be minted into an NFT, a highly efficient way of managing and securing digital assets. So of course, this is the issue I was talking about, blockchain carbon footprint, and I said one of the issues that, of course, people are saying about NFTs is it's not eco-friendly. So just let me go through this. For all the excitement, there's also concerns that NFTs are not eco-friendly because they are built on the same blockchain technology used by some energy-hungry cryptocurrencies. For example, each NFT transaction on the Ethereum network consumes an equivalent of daily energy used by 2 American households. So this is just one of the concerns. But I do believe with time, people will come up with ways of making, of course, the consumption of energy less and less and less. So, of course, the other thing is security of most today's blockchain network is based on special computers called miners. I think maybe this something we've shared before. Computing to solve complex math puzzles through cryptography, and this is called the proof of work principle, which keeps people from gaming the system and provide the incentive for building and maintaining. The miner who solves the math problem first sets an award with the price paid in virtual coins. The mining requires a lot of computation power, which drives electricity consumption very high. And I think this is the reason as to why, if you're in Africa, you know we don't have any mining company that is positioned here. Why? Because of the electricity cost. The Ethereum blockchain technology is evolving and moving towards less computational intensive design. This is what I was talking about, of course. People look for ways of improving the technology. There are also emerging blockchain technologies like Cardano. I'm sure you've heard of these, which was designed from the outset to have a small carbon footprint and has recently launched its own growing NFT platform called Cardano Kids. So competition is coming. A lot of NFTs were on Ethereum 720, ERC 720 blockchain. Now we have Cardano that has come up also with theirs. And the speed of transformation of blockchain technology into newer and more eco-friendly variant might well decide the future of NFT market in short term. Some artists who feel strongly about global warming trends are opposed to NFTs because of the perceived economic, ecological impact. So it's good to know that there are people who love NFTs, but of course they're like, the concern is that the consumption of energy. So how well can we also come up with ideas to really help this? So on my last bit, so it's good also to know the coming of crypto economy. Whether or not, in conclusion, whether or not the current NFT craze can keep up with the ongoing momentum, NFTs have already accelerated a larger trend of digital economy innovation. NFTs have confirmed that the public is feeling increasingly favorable toward a crypto economy and is bracing short-term risks in return for creating new business possibilities. And I think this is what now blockchain came to do. It came to offer new ways of doing stuff. We are moving from, of course, what we used to know to what now is to what might be. And it's good to always have this in mind. So NFTs have already made significant inroads into luxury and gaming industries and have plenty of room to grow beyond these initial applications. The art sector will continue to be an important segment of all overall NFT market and is likely to gradually reach maturity over the next couple of years. It's taken Bitcoin 12 years to be recognized and, of course, to be something that institutions want. So also NFTs in the early stages. And of course, since 2017, that's around 3 years. And of course, it has a long way to go before it matures. Although it's likely to be surpassed by other digital certificate applications like trademarks, patents, training, and upskill certificates. That's all I wanted to share with you today. I hope you found that valuable. And credit goes to BBC and the conversation. These are the two places I was able to, of course, get all these summarized uh, information about NFTs. I've learned a lot the whole of this week, been listening to podcasts on NFTs. It's an area, if you're an art person, it's an area I can tell you without doubt, just drop in and learn more. So I want just to pass this to Louise so that he can share with us what has been happening in the marketplace. So just 1 second. We just became the host. I hope you found value in what you learned today. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you continue also like going out there and learning more. So Louis.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Lawrence. Thank you for that nice review. I hope you can all hear me. I hope you can hear me. So, all right. So let me go ahead and share my screen because there's been a couple of news today. I think Lawrence actually has touched on quite a number of them in terms of NFTs and also news. So, yeah, so let me share my screen right now, then I can get going for the time. I think we are almost a couple of minutes in. So there you go. Hope you can all see and hear. Okay, all right. So I'd opened this particular page, the one Lawrence has shared about the QR. So it was in the city of Shanghai. That's when some video streaming up. It's called Bilbil. Got people talking with a huge advertisement on the skies because they use drones. So drones are those flyable like planes, or rather planes that you can actually deliver. I think Amazon is actually using them to deliver stuff. So that I think that was a very good illustration on how you can use technology. So let me start with the news I was trying to share for today. The first one, let me just again mute everyone. I think there's something is not on mute. Let me just mute all. Just a minute. Let me mute all. Okay, so there you go. Thank you. So, okay. Yeah, so the first news, I think Lawrence actually touched on it, was about the US lawmaker wants Treasury about not to ignore Bitcoin or America will fall behind, which I think they already are in terms of innovation. CBDCs, they actually taking time for them to adopt. I think China, Germany, Australia, Japan, they are very much ahead. As you can see, Congressman Kevin McCarthy has urged Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen and Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell not to ignore Bitcoin like they have been trying to do. He believes it's the future, emphasizing, I do not want America to fall behind other countries. So I think that is a quite interesting view from a congressman and also from somebody who is actually part of the legislative arm of the U.S. government. So if you want to read about more of this, you can actually request for the links that I'll share to you later. Moving forward, Time magazine, this is one of the oldest magazines for business and also politics, very old. Just last week, they are now saying, as you can see, this is actually the website, introducing a new way to pay, now accepting cryptocurrency. So these I actually found this interesting. And they have actually partnered with a company called Crypto.com to offer the service. So it says in partnership with Crypto, they'll offer pay rewards up to 10% back for subscribers who elect to pay using CRO, which is the native cryptocurrency for Crypto.org. That is, it's like now using Binance and Binance Coin. So that is a similar thing. So I think this is what actually there was something that they had shared earlier. But I think I'm not seeing it was on a tweet. It's like now you can actually do hodl. That is was coming from them. Moving forward, I think there's a company called Charles Schwab looking closely at offering crypto. So Charles Schwab is one of the retail brokers, the oldest actually that has been there for a very long time. So the retail broker seeks further regulatory guidance before making cryptocurrencies available to its clients. So who is Charles Schwab? As you can see over there, let me just zoom that in. So Charles Schwab is one of the largest retail brokerages and retirement account providers in the industry. That is in the US. So the company said that it would offer more clarity from regulators, regulatory bodies, but would like to be a player in the space. So this is what we've been talking about all along, that actually big, all institutions that they never would actually think about Bitcoin are now considering it. We have just talked about Time Magazine. Now it's Charles Schwab. I think last week during the Bitcoin 101, we saw one of the oldest insurance firm, I think Lawrence shared that, in Switzerland, now asking the clients to pay their premiums in cryptocurrency. So this is the trend that we are seeing right now. So just maybe one pick from this. So he said, we would like to see more regulatory clarity. So meaning they are tasking the government to offer more clarity. Said Schwab's chief executive officer, that is Walt Bettinger, on a call with analysts. And if and when that comes, you should expect Schwab to be a player in the space in the same way it has been a player in other investment opportunities across the spectrum. So I think that is good. And also maybe one last one before I move on. The SEC has been slow to draft regulations, and that is very that's very common of governments. Governments tend to move very slowly in terms of adapting to new innovations, and that is where now for entrepreneurs, like most of us, I believe, who are here, we were able to see opportunities. Moving forward from that, another US city aims to become a Bitcoin hub, exploring BTC payroll, that is mining, holding crypto in the balance sheet. So these were actually another city besides Miami. So Miami was the first city to declare publicly that they are going to invest in holding Bitcoin, and also encourage their employees to either be paid or to accumulate. So the other city is looking to become a Bitcoin hub. The mayor of City of Jackson, TN, says that is as per the US mayor. So the city is exploring payroll conversion in crypto in addition to Bitcoin mining to add the cryptocurrency to its balance sheet. So you can imagine a whole like city government or city authority paying their employees in cryptocurrency. I think that is quite a big move, starting of course with Miami. So Mayor Scott Conger of Jackson, Tennessee, has shared on Twitter his plans to make a city a Bitcoin hub. Jackson TN is in a prime position to lead the way in cryptocurrency adoption, he said this week. So I think this also, as I shared also, I think was it on Thursday or Wednesday, Cuba is also discussing on a paper, I think, on how they can incorporate cryptocurrency in the economic development plan. I think it was in the news on Wednesday, and we may have to check our Telegram channel for that. Moving forward, we talked about China. Let me see. We talked about China. Okay, I think this machine has hung. Just a minute. Okay, just a minute as I get it to work. So that's the usual thing. Technology at times it hangs on you, but we are be good to go in a while. Okay, so the news I was going to share was about China, basically becoming one of the countries actually publicly accepting to like actually seeing Bitcoin as an asset. That is what the news was saying. So let me just see if I can refresh this. It just seemed to hang. Just a minute. Let me just stop share and I can restart again. Sorry for that. Okay, let me see. I think yeah, we are good to go. Let me just go back and share the screen again as I admit new people to the meeting. Okay, just a minute before we move on to China. Right, so okay, just a minute. Just bear with me a moment as I get to share back the screen. So here we go. Right, yeah, so there we go. I think now we can see China. So China accepts Bitcoin as an investment alternative. You can imagine a whole, I mean, superpower now saying that they actually recognizing Bitcoin as an investment alternative. This is a country that has, for the longest time, become they give very alarming news about cryptocurrency, even to banning Bitcoin, to arresting people. But now they're actually saying they are recognizing Bitcoin as an investment alternative. So in brief, the deputy governor, let me just zoom that in so you can see it clearly. The deputy governor of China's central bank, PBOC, says Bitcoin is an alternative investment. China has a complex history with Bitcoin, as I said. This follows China 2017 education of crypto trading and ICOs. But today, they're actually saying, yeah, you can actually consider cryptocurrency, in this case, Bitcoin, as an alternative investment venture, which is actually basically solidifies the where Bitcoin is and actually where it is going. Moving forward, again, I think I'll have to, I need to keep things, let me just see what I can do so I don't need to close one of these windows. Okay. Just a minute, I think I have to close some of my windows that I have open, so at least I can. Okay, so sorry about that again. Yeah, I think this should be okay now. I believe so. It should be working. It's not. So, right. So from China, we are going to. I think it was it to UK, who was actually going to. They are actually running a CBDC test in terms of a central bank based digital currency. Let me just share that again. So I think there is a problem with connection here, but we'll manage. Just bear with me on that one. So I was talking about Bank of England. I think now you can see it. Bank of England and HM Treasury, that is Her Majesty, that is like the Queen. Treasury launched a task force for UK CBDC. So the first sign, this is the first time the Bank of England exploring the launch of a CBDC following the release of a discussion paper back in March 2020. I think around this time. And I think I remember we had shared this in our talks, and also the people that we actually came together to interact with. I think we can share that how they actually going forward to seeing how they can walk around like not missing out the whole cryptocurrency and blockchain trend the way the US has done. So the Bank of England and the HM has announced the launch of a task force to explore a potential UK CBDC. So the UK have not decided yet whether to launch the CBDC or so will use a task force to explore the practicalities of doing so according to announcement on Monday. So I think this is another way of another news that tells you where the world is heading into and how you should actually get to know what is happening. Another news as we go forward, I think is from there's one guy called Peter Skiff. I'm going to share that in a moment as I do that. So Peter Skiff is one of the gold investors who've been known to bash Bitcoin and also to have very debating discussions on cryptocurrency from I think way back. His son actually also bought some Bitcoin. Actually, he's done extremely well than him. So this time he says he expects Dogecoin. You remember Lawrence just talked about Dogecoin hitting $1. So this is just like it's a sarcastic it's a sarcastic talk. So don't take this guy serious in terms of cryptocurrency unless you want to lose your money. But he's just being sarcastic. And he says the prominent Bitcoin hater, CEO of Euro Specific Capital, Peter Smith, has taken to Twitter to comment on the recent rally of Dogecoin, sorry, and its spike to the list of top 5 cryptocurrencies by market capitalization. So this is a joke. Don't take this guy serious. I say again. So it's just a way to show that there's some people there who actually feel they missed the boat and they want to basically get in a big way, but maybe the ego doesn't really allow them to do that. To other news, we move to Russia. So the Central Bank of Russia releases plans for digitizing national payments by 2023. So Russia again is quite similar to China in terms of how they've been handling Bitcoin. they banned, I think they even announced a public ban of Bitcoin. At that time, as soon as they announced, Bitcoin interest actually spiked by, I think, more than 30% in one day, similar to what happened just last week by Turkey. Turkey actually also banned Bitcoin payments or the Bitcoin trading within the country. And just by doing that, the spike or interest in Bitcoin grew by, I think, more than 30% as well. That is as per Google search. So on April 14, that is last week, the Central Bank of Russia released a comprehensive strategy for the next 3 years of payments development in the country. So prominent among the CBR strategy is an emphasis on its digital rumble. Staff at Central Bank had presented some of these objectives last week. The recent report highlights a much broader ambitions. So if you guess, in case you want to know about that news, you can always chat us. You can share the working document that they prepared for you to read and get to understand more. Moving forward, I think we still stick to the European Union. So that is the European Central Bank, believes that basically the digital euro could be a solution to counterfeiting their physical euro. So the European Central Bank squeezed the public about its digital euro. Half of the respondents think blockchain could deal with the counterfeits and resolve technical glitches of its euro. So these, I think, happened also this month in terms of how they're trying to basically see how they can best use blockchain technology to solve one of the challenges as of many currencies, because currencies always can be counterfeited. But with blockchain, one of the key elements of blockchain is that it is something that is immutable. It cannot be tried. It cannot be altered. It cannot be changed. You can only see or have the original copy. So the ECB published this week the results of public consultation on a digital euro. Half of the respondents, most of whom are German, men said that blockchain would resolve counterfeiting and technical glitches and that most want digital euro that respects their privacy. So again, CBDCs and privacy, that's one thing that maybe people would want to understand how that will affect them. Moving forward to another news for the day, let's see that. Okay, I think we are moving on to just a minute. That is, hope you can see now. That is the Fed. I think these are the news that I actually wanted to start with. So the Fed at the moment, that is the Fed president says Bitcoin is clearly a store of value. We will be talking about how cryptocurrencies are becoming digital store of value. I think Lawrence started that about a tweet he shared a couple of years ago about Bitcoin becoming the digital store of value, and now you're seeing the Fed president now says it's clearly a store of value, emphasizing the differences between cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and CBDCs. He said the latter won't necessarily be a store of value. That is now in terms of the CBDCs. So for that, I think we may have to read in depth, because just a summary of the weeks. We won't go much to that. Moving ahead to UAE. So UAE employs blockchain tech for remote litigation of services. The UAE is one of the countries actually that have been very much forward stepping in terms of blockchain, and they're actually implementing most of these things that we are talking about. So the UAE government's adoption of blockchain technology for its legal notary services builds on its ambitions to go completely digital. I think we've been covering UAE for the longest time in terms of them having actual use cases of cryptocurrencies, and these actually now you're seeing them basically applying it basically on the news of just so on the news. The adoption of blockchain tech is expected to cut down time and effort and expenditure spent by the UAE's Minister of Justice in authenticating and verifying contracts and documentation, while building on the government's plan to transfer half of its transaction onto the blockchain by the end of the year. So you can see how this ecosystem is growing. This is now what we call is it walking the talk, or yeah, I think walking the talk. They're actually doing it practically, and they're not just saying. Moving forward, to Germany. So the telecom invest in a mobile focused public blockchain called Celo. So Celo is one of the cryptocurrencies that we have out of the 6,000 of them. So German technology company, the Switch Telecom, has invested in the public blockchain network Celo. The firm announced on Tuesday this week. So the Switch Telecom purchased an undisclosed amount of Celo tokens and plans to stake them. So staking is another feature that is within the cryptocurrency system. If you've been following our charts, you know what perhaps staking is. So staking is just a way of earning more tokens based on the tokens you're holding of a particular digital assets. So you're just holding. If you look at in the common terms of a financial aspect, and this is your financial advice, it's just similar to interest. You put money in your bank, you earn interest on a couple of times. But here, when you hold the tokens, you get to earn more of it based on how much you're staking them. So through doing so, the company subsidiary, that is T Systems MS, will operate as a validator using the Open Telecom Cloud, that is OTC, a stable cloud infrastructure system the company developed. So you can see very like these are big company that is actually now getting fully into the cryptocurrency space, because by the time you're running a node, this is like actually a node, you're actually investing time and resource. We've seen Elon Musk who actually runs a Bitcoin node in his in Tesla factory. We've seen a couple of other, even Jack Dorsey runs a Bitcoin node. Now you are seeing Germany as well, this company running now a node for Celo network. Moving forward, as I finish, I think a good place to finish. I think these are now the examples, as you can see. Legendary soccer star Pele joins NFT mania. So Pele, I think most of us would know who Pele is. If you are, I mean, a fan of football or also of news. So Pele is one of the oldest footballer. I think he was very renowned. He's from South America. So Pele's NFT collection to launch on May 2nd. In the recent past, Eternity's chain has also released Muhammad Ali's, that is another boxer, NFT collection. So you see how NFTs are becoming more and more monetized, and you can see people who have influence using it to monetize whatever they own. We've seen our own Eliud Kipchoge in Kenya actually monetizing about $40,000, which is actually good. So Eternity Chain is launching an NFT of the biggest soccer player of all time, that is Pele. The NFT collection is an addition to their expanding roster of NFTs for athletes and specifically soccer stars. So that's another practical use case of how NFTs and open blockchain that is being implemented. The other one, I think, is what you call. She's called Paris Hilton. Let me just share that right away. So Paris Hilton, is a renowned performer. Also herself, she's also launching another EFT worth over $1.1 million. So Paris Hilton, of course, the celebrated designer, Belk Kathleen, to launch our own collection of NFTs. So you can see how people are actively monetizing what they have within the cryptocurrency ecosystem. Moving forward, as I almost come to the end of this session, and we'll be taking any questions. Remember to ask any question in the chat, so that at least we can end with a couple of questions from answering a couple of questions from you guys. So the second last news is also on NFTs. That comes from Edward Snowden, set to launch to auction his first NFT. So who is Edward Snowden? I think we may remember him for the person actually who's been he exposed the workings of the CIA in a book called Permanent Record. I think we have it somewhere here. So he's a former CIA employee and the latest public figure to create and sell his own NFT. So 100% of the proceeds will go into the Freedom of Press Foundation, a non-profit tasked with protecting free speech. So you can see that's a very good combination of and use of NFTs in terms of promoting free speech and of course free speech and expression. So the last news of the day, I think, goes to right here in Africa, that is Nigeria. Let me share that for you. So Nigeria, that's a Bitcoin peer-to-peer trading up by 27% in Nigeria since the crypto ban. You can see how this ban actually encourages people to want to know more about cryptocurrency. So you can imagine peer-to-peer is basically trading on person to person. So I don't need a third party. I just go to the platform and we exchange. So I think late last month, Nigeria put out an announcement that they're going to ban cryptocurrencies. But just that happening, of course, people again had an aspect of interest. So P2P trading volumes are starting in Nigeria 3 months after the ban on financial institution trading with the crypto companies. So analysts point at worsening economic conditions and the necessity of alternatives to the traditional financial system, which is actually why Bitcoin is actually operating now. You don't need to know, you don't need to trust anyone. You just need to know that the system is there for you to use it. You don't need to rely on third party, of course, platforms. So I think with that, that does it for me. Let me go back to the chat. Let's see if there's any chat, any question. So I think that will finish my part of the session today. Unless there's anybody who wants to say something, I think I'll pass over the hosting rights back to Lawrence as we close for the day. So just a minute, let me make Lawrence the host. And thank you very much. And also looking forward for next week for the next Bitcoin 101. So there you go, and thank you very much.
So awesome, Louis, for taking us through what is happening across the globe. I hope all of you have found value in what we shared today. Remember, blockchain is growing. Blockchain is just at the start. Just like internet in the 1990s, where like a lot of things happened. Amazon was born in 1994, just few years after internet exploded. So this is the reason as why I usually say if you pay attention to the right information and you take action, of course it will lead you to the next level. So I hope you found value in what we shared today. NFT, in case you need more info on what we shared or the document I was just sharing with, or summary of where I got the notes from, of course we can share with you. Join our Telegram group, and then, like I said, blockchain meets real assets. We're gonna have a very some special guests on Monday. If you're interested in getting to understand how also real estate is being tokenized and how you can earn shares from anywhere in the world, of course, drop us a chat, drop us an email if you have our email addresses, and we're going to share with you more information on the same. So I do pray and hope you found value. Join our Telegram channel. That's where we're going to share the links to of course, the meeting we'll be having on Monday with special guests. People have been following for so long. People have been in the crypto space for so long. They've also been in the real estate for over 20 years, so they know what they're doing. And it's great just to come and learn. Have an open mind. Nobody's telling you to invest in anything or stuff. Just it's informational purposes. Come learn, educate yourself, get to know where the world is heading, so that you can start to educate, position yourself for a greater, brighter future. So with that, I want to thank all of you. We are already 17 minutes past our time. So I do want to wish all of you a blessed weekend. Blessings in everything you do in your businesses, your family, your loved ones and stuff. May you enjoy this weekend. Keep warm if you're in Nairobi, and we hope to see you next week on Saturday. In case you have a topic you want us to research also and share next Saturday, just feel free to also drop us a chat or a message. So that's all for today from Decrypt. God bless you. Have a